Hi, this is Carolyn, and I'm here with Aaron, and we are so excited to have Austin here with us. Austin just won 3-0 state championship, which is very hard to do. Congratulations, Austin.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Okay, can you start off and tell us why you started playing adult tennis?
Sure. I played tennis when I was younger growing up. I felt like as the oldest of four boys, my parents were always looking for somewhere for us to burn off some energy. So, in the summertime, it was kind of tennis season. So we'd go to swim team in the morning and tennis clinics afterwards. And so, probably up until fifth or sixth grade, had some kind of foundation of tennis. And then from that point on, maybe once every 2 years, some buddies were at a tennis court and I go, let's go hit. So very fun, very, very casual. And then about 2 years ago, my wife, who never played tennis, started kind of wanting to get into it because my mother still played. And so, for the social aspect as well as the competitive side. And so, I'm sitting there as a grown man, like, man, I have really no competitive outlet in my life. And once again, grew up playing a lot of sports. So I was like, man, tennis, I can get a little bit of exercise. It's pretty competitive. And, it only takes an hour and a half, 2 hours, right? So, I've got 3 kids now. There's no way I can get away for 4 hours to play around a golf. So, tennis was really that sweet spot for me that kind of checked all those boxes. And so just got back out going to some drills kind of casually with a good family friend who was a pro running some stuff and just really kind of fell back in love with the sport. And then from that point on, it was like, okay, how do I play more often? Who can I play with? How do I play on a league? And it's really just escalated from there.
Yeah, that competitive spirit stays with you, right? Your whole life. Yeah. That's one of the reasons I did it too. I was like, I need a sport as an adult, but there's like 2, golf and tennis. And I'm the same way. I don't have 6 hours to do golf. So yeah, I did the same thing. So can you tell us how you found your team? And,
Sure.
I know you're a captain. So did you gather people? Did you know certain, were you put in touch with players?
Yeah, so right when I caught this bug, I actually had just had an ankle scope surgery in January. So I had a couple months to recover from that, then started kind of playing in the summertime. And then right at the end of the summer, we actually moved to North Carolina. So all my tennis connections were gone. It was just like, all right, got to start over from scratch. So came up here. Someone thankfully introduced me to the Meetup app and the TTE group. So I started playing with some of them in the back end of the fall. And then I think I got plugged in with Western Weight, maybe on their website or Facebook group, and just saw, hey, sign up for leagues are coming, sign up. And so I just, filled out a random form, a little sign up genius, and played fall singles in 2019, which was a very weird experience because there was only 3 courses being played. I didn't know anyone. So it was even hard to get to know someone because it was just so few people, not a lot of matches. And so then come springtime, I was kind of at this crossroads where like, man, do I want to keep playing league or do I want to, just play with this kind of meetup group and with friends? But I like the idea once again of striving for something. So I was like, all right, I'll do this again. And then I made the mistake of checking the box of, are you willing to captain? Right.
Yep.
I'm like, well, I mean, if it means playing tennis, like I'll do it, I guess. And, I think the second I submitted, I got an email from Western. Right. Thanks for captaining. Here's your team. And so
congratulations. You're now a captain.
Yeah.
And I've never been able to not be a captain since then, But so my first team and the team that we won state with actually was just a sign up genius. Everyone kind of threw their name in the hat, and it really is amazing. We talked a lot about it at state, even how close we've become, and just how even similar stages of life a lot of us are. We were a bunch of younger guys who were trying to get into tennis but didn't really know anyone or have a club to join, and so we meshed really well. And yeah, I mean, it's as simple as that. Just I gotta give a shout out to Western Wake for helping us get the team together. Yeah,
that's amazing. That's such a cool way that it happened. That's serendipity right there. Yeah. Okay, so I captain a lot as well, and there are really good parts of captaining and really not so fun parts of captaining. So do you have a best and a worst part of captaining?
Sure. So I would say probably the strategy is what I love most about captaining. Cool. Right? The pregame to me is part of the game, right? Just throwing people on the court. In my mind, you're going to lose that way. So I'm always thinking of, all right, who can I play together? Who plays well together? When someone's out that week, who can I fill in that will mesh very well? We do like, or at least personally, I like to look at who we're playing and see kind of where they're ranked, and maybe even do a little tennis record, digging, see where their players are at, and it kind of that I really enjoy. And it's weird because it kind of creates this like stress within me where I'm like, oh man, like I need to make sure I do this right. But it also, when it works out in the end and we win, then that's when it feels really good. Like, okay, I like this part. I think the most negative part is an easy one, and that is makeup matches for rain delays.
Right. Oh my gosh. 100%.
Worst possible thing about captaining, trying to coordinate so many people, and I've tried it 100 different ways. I never can seem to figure out the exact best way to handle those, but somehow we make it through. So
right.
Austin, you talked a little bit about that. You looked at tennis record. Is that the research you did before? And also, did you flip courts at state?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question.
Great question.
Yeah.
So that is not all the research we did. After our first match, we actually went and watched a team that we played later in the week. They were playing after us. So we went and we eyed them up, make sure they saw us out there too, of course. And then I've got to give a shout out to my guy, Paul Narulo, on my team. Every day, he would send over a Google spreadsheet that had, I guess it was all information from Tennis Record, but he had who played which court, everyone's record from the whole week against the teams we played. And it was super helpful, especially after we won the first two matches and everyone kept telling us like, hey, they're going to start rolling courts on you guys. You need to be ready for that. So we started kind of eyeing who was where. And we got courts rolled on us, which, put us in a weird place because we were like, do we roll? But then we didn't want like our stronger courts playing weak courts. And so like ultimately we just kind of sat down and we were like, look, we think we're the best team here and like we can beat anyone no matter where they put us. So even if they try to give us trash courts on our, first courts, like we are strong enough that we can do that. And so we never rolled and, it worked out for us in the end, but it was a conversation we had before every single match of whether or not we roll and should we roll and if we thought they were going to roll. And then when we turn in, they'd call out names and our team would cheer every time. They'd be like, okay, Austin and Mitch on court. We're like, yeah. And so, but the second they would call out their people for D1, we would know, okay, like they rolled us.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a strange experience for sure, but we ended up not rolling at all. So
that's awesome. So you call it roll, we call it flipping. That's interesting. Did you get that from like your childhood, or is that just what someone?
I think someone had just mentioned it to me. Yeah.
That's funny. I've never heard it said that way, but I like that. I
do too, Aaron. I'm going to start saying that instead of flip. Are we going to roll and just see what?
Hey, feel free to take it. Yeah.
I like it. No,
but you must have had a very good team.
We did the same thing.
Yeah, he must have had a very good team too to be like, no, we're the best team. Up and down the roster. Then that's really good.
Well, I think I think confidence has a lot to do with that, right? So like if you think you're going to play well, you'll play well. So like that was kind of like as a captain what I was trying to instill in the team. One, and two, having been with these guys for 2 years now, I knew where we were strong at, and particularly in the singles side. So we had two really strong singles courts. So I felt like either one could play S1. So it didn't do anybody any good rolling there. And then, all three of our doubles courts were really strong. And so I knew without a doubt we could get at least one of the doubles courts. And so, it was kind of like, look, if you don't want to play good tennis and you want to play a lesser court, like that's fine. But like, we're going to be where we're supposed to be.
Yeah. We actually had that same experience at 3-5 states a couple years ago, right, Carolyn?
Yes.
We had, we had both our 18 over and 40 over team go to states. And we had that same thing. We had two, we flipped our singles players back and forth every single time. And same thing, we knew we had strong doubles courts. So we made it all the way to the semifinal for 40 over and felt really, I don't know what we did for our 18 over, Carolyn, but
I don't think we made
it pretty far in both.
Yeah, we went pretty far, but it was like one game difference and we lost. Yeah.
Yeah. And everyone was so bummed at the end. I'm like, dude, we just took North Carolina, like we're in North Carolina. It's really strong tennis.
Yeah.
And we got to the semifinal at the state tournament. That's pretty good. So pretty proud of that. Okay, cool. So what was the most memorable part of states? Was it just the win, or was it the experience? Was it a match?
So I'll say a couple things. So one, was
it the heat? Yeah,
I'm from Louisiana, so it was pretty cool in my opinion.
Okay.
So a couple of us, we actually got an Airbnb. And so there was 3 of us staying there, but then the guys would come over in between matches, and it's just a lot of fun. It was a real good time to kind of bond with everyone outside. And then so from there we would kind of leave together, and there'd be 3 or 4 of us in a car, and we would play like loud music, like doing these 20+ minute drives to these random courts. And like we would pull up, like it was loud. We'd open the doors, we'd let the music play for a little bit over the top. I mentioned earlier, like we were just cheering anytime like they would call like someone to go play a court. And then obviously at the end, after we won, someone's spouse had gone and got some champagne. So we popped champagnes by the courts and we're spraying it around and everyone was drinking out of the bottle. And then we went back to the main place to receive the awards. And this is after 10 o'clock at night. Wow. And I swear they've never seen anybody as excited as we were. We were in there like cheering out of everything we did. One guy did a backflip, like, like as he's walking up to get his little bag tag. I mean, we were like so pumped, and we've got a great team picture there. And it's such a good reminder because everyone has this big, just open mouth, genuine smile. And it's just pure joy, and it was overall a great experience, but just the time with the guys and the overall excitement and energy we had as a team was just awesome.
That's awesome. We would love that photo.
To
promote this episode.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's great.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So what advice would you give to someone going to States for the first time?
Yeah, so States was kind of wild. It's a lot of tennis in a short amount of time. And there's no warm-ups either, right? So I think those were the two biggest shockers to us. We only had 8 guys go, so we didn't really have a chance to rest anybody. Everyone was playing like every match. So I think like the one thing would be like try to strategize for how you're going to rotate guys or give people breaks if needed, because it was hot, not as hot as Louisiana, but it was hot. And it was a lot of tennis. And so, just being smart of how you do that and then coming prepared to play because they were very short warm-ups. One tip that I would give to a new captain that someone gave me was because warm-ups are short, defer your serve. So you make them serve with no real serve warm-ups, right? And smart. So then you get time to kind of warm up and then you can get into your serve being a little looser since the warm-ups are only 5 minutes total. So we kind of tried that strategy a little bit too.
Yeah.
I like that. Well, Austin, thank you so much for doing this tonight. And if anyone listening would like to see a picture of Austin, please check out our website, which is secondservepodcast.com. Thanks so much for listening and hope to see you on the court soon.